Hey, welcome everyone to the Sketch Zone podcast. It's me, it's Carlos. I'm home. So I have relatively good internet this week.
Relatively.
Speaking of having good internet, let's welcome back to the CTN. And alongside her, we have, for the first time, Abe Calendar.
Oops. Look at me.
Yo, that's so awesome.
I was like, dang.
Hey,
Did I-
you can't win them all. You can't win them all.
Hello, everybody.
What's up?
Hey, you had your own theme song for a hot
It
second.
was awesome.
That's right. It's Abe Calendar.
Well, anyway, while you're at that.
No, we got to go ahead and get Charlie B. Williams the third.
Just kidding.
He said, look at that. What's up, guys? Glad to be here.
And the soundboard guy does his own thing. He does whatever he wants.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to have like a tooth reconstruction. I haven't been the same since. People actually were commenting on me today saying that something's off. So, I don't know. I think they drilled a little too high or gave me too much gas. I don't know what happened, but something's different.
That's Jackass Brzezak. Oh, yeah, always.
Manual soundboard. I'm not risking it.
If you're watching live and you want to interact with us, you can use the chat room. Otherwise,
There we go.
that's right. It's Abe Calendar Show. I mean, use the Sketch Zone hotline. Sketch 840-810-538-248. International callers like you, Dave Atsy. Use 011-408-753-8248. Please leave your name. This ain't a guessing game. This is a serious podcast.
Let's go.
Super serious.
So serious. So serious.
All right. So now that that's done,
Let's go over to the canvas here and let's get started. I believe every day's a good day when you paint.
Fun prom.
every day. I have something to say about every day you paint. But for now, we're going to take a look at Careless Taxidermist in Bill Watterson style in a gingerbread house. Let's
That
see.
was a doozy.
Very holiday.
That was a doozy.
It was very apropos. So this one comes in from Joey Artwall. Joey Wall Art.
Yo, Hobbs got this.
Hey Joey, when you get a chance, just let me know for sure if you ever got that sketch wallet. Hey Steve.
He did. He posted about it.
Oh, did he? All right, cool. I have to catch up to social media, or SMs as the kids say.
No, they don't say that. Keep it.
Not at all.
Not at all. Sounds like a bowel movement or something. The way you said it.
Stop it.
Stop it.
Careless.
Smothering me.
Careless taxidermist in the gingerbread house. I like it.
Ah, poor Hobbs.
Let's see who else is here. Hey, mine is here.
I like that you went with the infamous snowman panels.
That's my favorite.
Yeah, those are good.
So now what's happening here is the careless taxidermist. Usually a taxidermist is stuffing its subject with all kinds of wonderful chemicals. This careless taxidermist is stuffing his with fried foods. How careless is that? He's stuffing him with fried.
What's up with the snowman? He's getting a heart
Just
attack, like a
concerned.
second degree heart attack.
Oh man is saying, how careless.
How careless.
I'm getting into the gingerbread house. Moving on. Sketchbook
Yo.
There's more.
Poor Hobbs, man.
Calvin.
I like that you went with the panels too, and down to the correct font, Jack.
I tried to match his font, but it's not easy. He's got a weird
himself
font.
or something.
He did. He did.
I like this one.
Oh,
But I didn't know what to do with the gingerbread house, so I just randomly added it on the desk. He's just got it there.
Little gingerbread spots on the wall there.
Yeah, but Art Wall had that concept, so
yeah,
trying to change it up.
Anyway, so now that at least we had more than last.
How hard is it to draw Calvin and Hobbes, though?
It's not super hard, but when I was looking at they're a lot rougher and scribblier than I remember. When I really look at it, I'm like, man, this stuff is like, did he bang these out in like 3 minutes?
You know what the best is when you used to get the trade paperbacks? Which is probably some of my earliest ones where I felt like I was accomplished by reading the whole thing. Because I felt like they were big. They're probably not as big as I thought.
Yeah. We had a this or that on the Instagram stories, and we asked comic strip or comic book. Guess what overwhelmingly won?
Strip.
Book?
Oh, book. 83% out of like 190 votes.
People love their books. And then when they started coloring them too.
That's true.
The few trade papers that are colored for Calvin and Hobbes, game changers. You're like, ooh.
So let's get a new one.
I have the whole library right there.
You do? Nice.
Okay, so let's pick a new one.
So we got to do at least 4, right? Because we got 2 people. They should just each pick 2.
We could do that.
I'm diplomatic.
So the way it works is you guys help us pick a new subject to draw this week. So if you guys don't mind, each of you pick 2 of these: adjective, animal, character, action, style, and location. Not everyone at first. No.
So we pick 2 of each. So adjective, the ones that are checked, right?
No, it can be.
the 6.
I can check as many as I can take off as many as you'd like.
And it could be any animal we want, or.
Oh no, you just pick the category, and the prompter will generate a random. Unless you have a suggestion, by all means.
Yeah, unless you have a favorite animal.
If there's something you want to do and you want to see the nation do.
I mean, you can do favorite animal. You can do that.
Is there like a site where I go for this? Okay.
You just tell me, and then I'll select them, and then I'll hit prompt me, and then it'll pop up.
Oh, okay.
Read all of them just in case they can't see them.
Tidy servant.
Adjective, animal, character, action, style, location.
Yeah.
Pick 2.
Pick 2 of those.
Let's do animal.
Animal. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
What else?
I'll pick character. No, let's do action. Actually.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
All right.
Abe, do you have one?
Yeah. Let's do animal as well.
Well, she's already picked that
Oh,
one.
that's good. That's good.
I'll do character.
Okay.
Okay.
And
One more.
style.
Ooh.
People love that stuff.
Feel good about this.
Okay. Let's see. A rooster sea captain in a Van Gogh.
Squeezing Van Gogh.
Or he's squeezing Van Gogh.
Squeezing Van Gogh. That is great.
I'm pleased with this. I like this.
Real quick, hi Landon. Hello. Thanks for having me. Hope you
He's sad you didn't invite him on the show.
Oh.
And with that said,
Let's go to the canvas here and let's get started. I believe every day's a good day when you paint.
Boom. Cool. So there you have it.
That's good.
A rooster sea captain squeezing Van Gogh. In Van Gogh style.
Yeah.
But
I think you should be
without a Van Gogh style, legendary.
And the rooster be squeezing Van Gogh.
Or Van Gogh is squeezing the rooster. Whoa.
Or group thing.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Why don't you calm down?
All right.
Let's get focused.
Oh, I'm focused.
Rooster, Sea Captain, Van Gogh walk into a bar, squeezing.
That's Sea Captain.
Squeezing.
That's the captain. For the sea captains. Ooh, I'm just gonna keep that one to myself. Just realize.
So yeah, with that said,
so I'm gonna post this, but anything new and exciting in the world of art?
in the world of art,
In general? Let's see.
SpongeBob creator died, but you know,
Oh yeah,
How old was he?
not old. I think
12.
how much? 57. Yeah, he wasn't
Yeah.
very old.
Man.
He was diagnosed with ALS, I believe, like 2 years ago or something like that. Yeah, so that was the cause of his death, which is really sad.
Yeah, it's sad.
Sucks.
Still pretty young.
He was really young.
Yeah.
Wow, it's a downer.
That is a downer.
Yeah.
Other than that,
In other news, you guys should go see the Wreck-It Ralph movie.
yeah, I heard it was pretty
I
good.
took my kids to see it.
I heard it was pretty good.
Excellent.
Okay, hang on.
Excellent.
We gotta at least touch on this. How do
Yes,
y'all
sir.
feel about live action Lion King remake?
I think it's gonna be amazing.
It's not live action.
Well,
It's like-
yeah,
Talk to him, Sochi.
it's literally animated again.
Let's go. Real looking
CGI
real looking
yeah.
CG characters.
It took a little while.
Differently animated Lion King.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be good. I like the lineup. I'm all about the voice actors with this one. If the voice actors were this lineup makes me there's only one that I'm like,
What, Beyonce?
shut up. How you get out of my head, Jack?
Yo.
No, Beehive, leave me alone.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping for the best. We're gonna be good. I mean, you could have like there's another person that you could have picked, but I don't want the internet coming after me. Because I will say that Rihanna
It's free.
did
She's not
amazing
doing
in
anything.
Wreck-It Ralph.
She's not doing anything. So
And I forgot that she was even in it.
Who do you think is better, Rihanna or Beyonce?
Yo, you trying to get somebody killed out here. But in terms of voice acting so far, because I forgot that that was even her voice. Rihanna.
as voice actors, yeah. Did you see Austin Powers 3?
Yo, stop it, Jack.
She-
I've had all these conversations already.
She's no good.
Yo,
Foxy Cleopatra.
I feel like were we talking about this, Jack?
Nope.
No, who was I talking to about this? Oh, I think it was Danny Williams. About
So we
this.
think
This exact same. This is how the conversation went, and then they brought up Foxy Cleopatra because I'm all women.
so. Charlie's into it. I take it by Sochi's response. You're bitter. You're not into it. You're not feeling it.
I mean, no, I think I'm excited for it. I feel like it's like unnecessary, I guess.
Maybe. Yeah.
And especially like based
you-
off the trailer, it just seemed like it was like shot per shot, like a shot by shot like remake.
They did that with Beauty and the Beast too.
Yeah,
Like,
they did.
the trailer was shot for shot.
Then again, we only see like 90 seconds of film, so for all I know, like the whole
It
plot
goes
could be
left.
different. Yeah, it could just
Somebody
be
died.
different, but what we're seeing is the same as the 2D version. So, I mean, I'm excited. I'll still watch it.
Simba gets shot by a human.
Did you guys see Jungle Book?
Nala takes the throne because
The
this
same.
is where the subject matter is going to go nowadays. It's going
It's
to be
like
all about
Beyonce,
Beyonce
too.
and Nala's character.
The same hunter that killed Bambi's mom does it.
Right? The same one, the same fisherman that stole Nemo. Yo, but in another part about it, they're bringing back Mr. James Earl Jones though.
They sure did.
Yeah,
But they didn't bring back Jeremy Irons. What's with that?
you're right. I don't know. I didn't do that one. Who's doing it instead?
I
I can't remember. I have to go with the list.
gotta look that up. Okay.
Donald Glover, I think is gonna do a good job. I feel like he'd be into it and do all right.
Oh,
He's Simba.
the guys that I can't say his name. Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Oh yeah, it's what was he in, Zach?
Huh?
I can't pronounce his name either, but I just know him
No,
by
I
what
can't.
movies he was in.
He's English. He was from 12 Years a Slave.
Yeah, that's what it was. 12 Years a Slave. That dude.
Yeah.
There's somebody else too. Who's playing Zazo? It's
Yeah, John Oliver.
John Oliver. yes, John Oliver. Yeah. I'm kind of the hyenas are the only ones where I'm like, you could have.
They could have went and got
You could have at least brought back Whoopi.
At least, yeah, for sure.
At least bring back.
It was so
Whoopi.
iconic in the original.
Like, why
one.
wouldn't you bring back Whoopi?
because she's
What?
politically charged these days. She always
Yeah.
does things that gets people in trouble.
Go watch Wreck-It Ralph. Just go watch it. I don't think that matters. But yeah, I can't think of anybody else after that. But it could be boring as all. I could just be getting overhyped.
And that's the fear, right? Because when they did Beauty and the Beast, everyone thought it was trash.
But Jungle Book did okay.
Jungle Book did excellent.
And it's
Now,
pretty
is it
much
John Favreau? Is he directing?
He's John
Yeah.
Favreau.
The same director as the Jungle Book.
So he'll save it. I
Nice.
guess.
I think for me, like backing up what Sochil says, like it's gonna be like a remake exactly frame by frame, just done in CGI instead of 2D. I
If
think that
that's true.
differentiates like the fact of like Beauty and the Beast or the Jungle Book,
Yeah.
or even like Cinderella is like you actually do get a little bit of live action, right? You get Mowgli, he's like a real
Yeah.
actor. You get Emma Watson, she's a real actress. I think that's the one element that at least adds something to this new film instead of just a complete remake frame by frame. I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna go see it. I'm gonna cry as I always do when I watch The Lion King.
Yeah, get into your bag. Eh?
No, I'm gonna.
It's going to be extra hard this time. Seeing a real lion get
You know what-
taken down.
You know what I would
like
do?
in a little bit, I was watching like a National Geographic like trailer.
Right?
I was like, this looks a really
Yeah.
badass
Oh.
National
Watch
Geographic.
out for
Yeah.
sharks. Yeah, I want them to pan over and see some dude hanging in a tree for 5 days trying to get the shot.
Yeah.
They should just have David Attenborough narrate the entire movie.
Oh, that'd be great. You know what I would do? I'd go out on a limb. I'd do it the same way they're doing it now. Realistic CG live action, kind of like the Mowgli one. I just switch and make everyone human.
Ooh.
And just do
Well,
it.
like in New
That's
York.
all they did.
No, just in Africa. Do the exact same thing, but like
I don't
Like the
like
Broadway one.
CJ. But you make them CG still. It's still. I don't want them live action for real. I don't want them real human. I just want them
Oh, you just want like
characters.
a
Think
mashup.
about it. You can still do all the crazy stuff.
no, don't like it.
Yeah, I'm not into that.
You don't like it unless you saw it. See,
No,
but you rather watch it. the
I
exact
want to
same
see some
thing.
CG Beyonce.
right. And that's the
You
thing.
can still make it character. You don't have to make them look like the actors. No, I wouldn't do that.
Okay, so
From our direction, we ain't just recreating.
here's it. Nobody wants to see a male Pumbaa sitting in a hot tub.
If it looks funny enough, you do. Yeah. Go realistic stylized. Come on, you guys aren't using your imagination. You think somebody's going like super realistic? Beyonce's gonna sing and all the crazy stuff and
And like
start
Timon
having
and
some
Pumbaa.
shimmery just yeah. I want them to be like Timon and Pumbaa look funny looking. That's why they're out there by themselves. Just short and a fat dude, just
Like-
smell.
Pumbaa would be like the Lost Boys from Peter Pan, like two kids that don't have a family. Like, how sad is that? Nobody wants to see that.
Well, you don't have to be kids. They were older, remember? So they could be like grown men in their 20s.
Because that's not sad.
Out on their own, just young. Yeah. That's not
Two old men that befriend a young boy. Listen to where you're going with it.
No, you just have a
One of
weird.
them has a gas problem. Talks too fast.
I said older. I said in their 20s. So it'd be like The 22-year-old hanging out with the 18? How old would Simba be? 16? Technically. Technically.
Too many perverts would.
I think it'd be cool. I think you're just being weird right now. You just make it look like characters and don't have to make it look like the actual people. And be cool. It'd be like another story. But moving on, we've beat this dead horse. When does it come out?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, when does it come out?
I don't know.
I think it's summer.
Probably.
I think it's like around June.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did Disney have a presence at CTN at all? So they were trying to push this movie?
Not at all. I mean, Disney TV was there, but I don't know. I'm not sure if like Disney, like, like the feature Disney studio was there. I know Disney TV was there, but
yeah.
They didn't mention it at all during CTN. Yeah.
When I was there last,
even the trailer came out after CTNX, right? So
yeah, that's right.
I think it did. So I would think they would promote, if anything, Aladdin more than the Lion King.
They weren't even.
I don't think I've even seen Aladdin's trailer or anything. I don't think. Is it like what is that? What is that one?
I'm interested in seeing
live action as well.
I'm interested in seeing what they do with Aladdin too, because it's the cast that they put together. I was like, really? It didn't make a lot of sense to me.
Are they
like the genie is the Rock?
See, well, but we know he can. Okay, he can.
Genie's a Rock? I thought it was.
I thought it was Will Smith.
Yeah.
Oh, was it Will Smith?
Yeah, it's Will Smith.
I think it is Will Smith. Yeah.
I hope it's on the show a little bit, didn't we? Now I remember because I was like, I don't know how that's gonna be, but whatever. Who's Aladdin?
Aladdin 2019.
I don't really even know the actors very well. Like, I don't think I've seen him in anything else.
And I actually kind of like that.
Once again, Will Smith
like when you don't like compare like, oh, I mean, I have like this assumption of this like famous actor now.
Yeah, that's true.
I like that. When
there's got to be a bunch of no names in Will Smith. All his other movies, because
like every other movie.
So so Will Smith is the genie. Naomi Scott is Princess Jasmine. Mena Massoud is Aladdin. And then it goes down from there.
Is there any like footage of this yet, or is it just like
there's a teaser?
There's a trailer.
Also like 90 seconds.
Is it 90 seconds of a logo?
Maybe half of it is the logo,
okay.
I think.
Okay. Are we sliding across the A?
I actually will say I got more excited about the Aladdin teaser than the Lion King one.
Because you haven't seen anything.
Personally. Like,
you're more excited for Aladdin than the Lion King? Is that what you said?
For the teaser, I got more excited when I saw the teaser for Aladdin than for the Lion King. Like, okay, I'm actually seeing something new here.
Yeah, I feel like they could work something a little more different with like Aladdin because, like with Lion King, it just seems like it might be like exactly the same as like the 2D version. Whereas I feel like they can elaborate a little bit more on Aladdin,
It is kind of like funny that they release both trailers like in like month or 2 months apart. No, like you would expect like they would have like one for 1 year, the other one next year or something like that. Like they always
feel like they're just really pushing like the whole live action, like Disney live action remake, aspect now. Like all these Disney movies are being remade in like live action, and I think they really just want them. They're like marketing that like a lot now. Yeah.
Give us your money.
Yeah, it really is because they sell you on like the nostalgia. You love Disney and you grew up with these movies, so of course you're gonna go watch them. Even if they're a remake and you've already kind of seen
it. Like it.
Yeah, there's no way you're not gonna miss it.
Watch it and you'll like it.
I will say, I was surprised when I saw the trailer for Mowgli. I don't know if you guys saw that for Netflix.
Oh yeah, I think I saw that.
But that's interesting.
But that's not Disney, right? That's like some other.
No, that's the Andy Serkis one.
The Andy Serkis, yes.
Oh, Andy Serkis.
I don't know if like it like they were in production the same time as the Jungle Book.
They were, yeah.
And they said, and they don't have to wait.
There's some animation in that one that is a little.
Oh my god, it's
a little creepy.
Hold on.
I was
It's
creeped out by
motion capture, isn't it? Cleaned
So
up, right?
I saw. I don't even know if I can disclose this, but
Yo, go ahead. We're good.
I don't work there anymore. What are they gonna do? Fire me?
Yeah.
So I saw some of the stuff they were doing on set, and Andy, okay, anybody that knows Andy Serkis
Yeah,
knows
let's talk about it, please.
his whole thing that he's the motion capture god and thinks that he should have an Oscar for best actor or whatever, and he's all about motion capturing tables and chairs and stuff. So he'll put like people in like some chair outfit or whatever. So obviously it makes sense. He's well adept at doing monkey characters and gorillas and whatnot.
Is he?
But, no, come on. I'll give him that credit. I think he did a pretty good job for Planet of the Apes. But this guy, I look into
Yeah, he's on another level now.
I look into that motion capture room, and they're trying to motion capture humans performing as like the tigers and the big cats. And now it's not people like on all fours. It's no joke. It's two dudes with like a board between them. One guy acting as the back legs and one guy as the front. No lie.
Why?
Why? Dude, I don't know. I guarantee you that those animators saw that and they just like threw it right out. They're like, whatever, I'm gonna start over.
That's what I'm asking, even for like stuff like Planet of the Apes and stuff like that. Knowing what you have to do and how much you have to clean up. I know how much you have to clean up motion capture.
Some shots are no, you know what? Actually, it's gotten to the point now where you don't have to clean it up. It's pretty solid right out of the box. The problem is they change their minds so many damn times that the chances of them actually accepting what they shot is just not going to happen. So it's like
I just hate the way he started grapping on all the animators and stuff like that over the years before it got to this point.
Because he doesn't really have
3 years ago, 4 years.
He doesn't really have any clue what goes into it.
Yeah, he just like sees the final shot like, oh, I did amazing.
And the ones they show on the teaser reel, of course, they're going to show the ones that looked just like the footage because that's what makes for a good teaser reel. You're not going to show the one that he did something and then it got thrown away and the animator did something entirely different. That doesn't make for a good teaser reel.
Yeah, I feel like he sits down and sees it with everybody else and's like, man, I do such a good job with this motion capture thing.
You never think it crosses his mind like, I don't remember doing that.
No, he just accept it as like, man, the nuance in that eyebrow, man, I just got to really work on those muscles up there to get that just right. You know, like he had an interview, like the last interview I watched him. He had an interview. He was talking about he has his own company now, and I think he was doing some. If it wasn't for the Magic Leap stuff, he was doing some other like work that he was partnering with somebody else. I can't remember. I'm gonna have to look it up in a second here so I can get it for you guys. But it was a couple years that he was like talking just like he did it all. You know, like I think you can find the YouTube video. I think you can find the interview on YouTube, and it just like rub me the wrong way. I was like, come on, Andy. I know it was rough back when you first did it with what would that be? Lord of the Rings, right? Way back when. I know it was probably rough back then, but even knowing that, it was even rougher back then. Yeah. I think he got more credit than he deserved, but even back then, we know motion capture was
definitely did.
And he just kind of inflated his ego. But I don't want to talk about hate on him too much. He just was like, come on, give the animator some credit too. But yeah.
So real quick, Abe, what do you do for a living?
All right. So for a living, I'm freelance as an illustrator, but my main job is I'm an art director for an advertising agency here in Burbank called Petrol, and we do a lot of just advertising for gaming. Especially, we do a lot of key art. We worked on the last Call of Duty key art. And just, all that. And I've worked as a graphic designer for about 7 years. And yeah, that's what pays the bills. But on my side, on my free side, like after work, I'm always just developing illustrations, developing stories, personal projects. I've had a chance to pitch a couple of them to festivals in Mexico. And yeah.
Cool. Nice. And
Wait, can you define what key art is then?
I'd realized that we were going super geeky into the art and animation world, and people on the chat or people that will watch this later are like, okay, so what are all these guys do? And then Sochi, you're giving me an update. If you guys haven't listened, Sochi has been on the show a couple other times. But real quick, just give us a brief recap of what you do.
Yeah, sure. So I work at the studio called Jumpstart Games here in Los Angeles. And they initially started out doing like CD-ROM games for kids. They're educational games. However, now that's outdated. So, they do mobile online games. And I recently transferred into like a full-time 2D artist there. 'Cause initially it was an internship.
Nice.
Yeah, so
Congrats.
transitioned into full-time. Thank you. And like I do a lot of like we do concept art for like 3D assets for our games. And then a lot of our 2D artwork gets outsourced to India. And when it comes back, it'll have like issues or certain things that could be reworked. So that's kind of like what I do there. I'll like go over the drawings, sometimes redraw it completely, or just give them like pointers on what they could do to like make it better, I guess, or more, I guess more appropriate for the game. But yeah, that's the update.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So now we can get back to being geeky. Now that we have everyone
on board.
Okay.
Charlie had a good question in there. When Abe, you said you do key art. Can you kind of explain what key art is for folks?
So key art is pretty much a poster of a game, of a movie, and there's different processes. Of course, we can be sometimes it's illustrated. So a lot of times it's actually illustrations. So I tackle that as well. A lot of times it's actually from photo shoot, and then we start developing all the different options for the client. And it's actually a pretty long process. It usually takes up months for the client and to get like the essence of whatever it is, the movie, the game, to actually come across. But yeah, it's basically, they call it key art, one sheet, but it's basically the poster.
So real quick,
and then that poster has to be pretty much transformed into all types of sizes and marketing, right? So for billboards, for the tiny little banners on your cell phone, from like every single size, that has to be reworked. So also that has to be kept in mind when designing the actual poster.
So just a kind of like to give a reason why illustrators can make pretty good money in the advertising world. Back when I was working in Hollywood, we had a team of illustrators that could draw people's likeness, and a team of illustrators are cheaper than having whatever said movie star come in for a photo shoot.
Mm-hmm.
And so people like Abe will go and concept out what the movie poster would look like. And then that way, if they can fit the movie star in for a photo shoot, they already know exactly what pose that they want to do. But here's a little thing that I never get credit for. Movie credits. It's not on my IMDb. There was a movie that 50 Cent was coming out in, and he was the main character, and they needed someone who was a little bigger. So they dressed me up in the 50 Cent outfit, and they had me go and gave me these 2 bags full of fake money. And they had me doing a bunch of, here, just run through like this and then jump and then do all this stuff. And then they took my body, and I think maybe they photoshopped his head on there, or they did something. I don't know what the hell they
Wow.
What movie was it?
It's cheaper to work Carlos to the bone than it is to go get 50 Cent. So that's what
That's the one credit at IMDb that would make you worldwide famous.
Stunt double.
What movie was it?
I don't remember.
Yeah, what was that 50 Cent movie called? I remember it.
I don't remember, but he was dressed up in like a mechanic's outfit, and he had 2 bags of
Get Rich or Die Trying.
maybe.
That one? Was it that one?
No, I don't think so. I think that came out before this. I'm not even convinced that the movie came out.
Wow.
The cover art was shitty, but yeah,
I think something cool for posters that's been happening, like, I think for a couple years back, is we've seen like a lot of comeback from like illustrated posters, which I love. For a while there, like we were stuck in the Photoshoppy 2 big heads or big hero pose, and like every poster would look exactly the same.
right.
And I think, like, I don't know if like you can correct me, guys, but the first poster that I saw illustrated that really make a huge impact was, I think, the Stranger Things from Kyle Lambert.
I was thinking the same thing.
And it was like it's so much inspiration from Drew Struzan. He was like the main poster guy from the 80s. He did all the classic posters from Indiana Jones, Back to the Future, Star Wars.
Yeah.
He did all those, and there was actually a really cool documentary. It was on Netflix. I don't know if it's there anymore.
Oh, yeah, I remember that documentary. It was cool.
It was so great.
Yeah.
Like it was like really like this lost art of movie posters.
Yeah.
Of just not photoshopping 2 big heads or just photoshopping the guy being heroic, and then that's it. The actual work that goes behind it. And I think with Stranger Things, that was like the big thing that came back with this. It's funny because it's digital, but it has such a hand-drawn feel. It's exactly as you're choosing, and then from there,
which one is it?
Yeah. The artist.
Yeah, which is it? Kyle Lambert.
Yeah, Kyle Lambert.
Now, has he gone on and done a bunch of other ones now?
I think he just recently did for Muse. I think he did the last album cover for Muse, which is really cool.
He started out doing album art, didn't he?
I'm not sure.
I think that was like in the documentary, was that he did like album art.
Drew Struzan, right? Yeah. He did it for this. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I think he really made it. There was actually an exhibit here in LA when I had first moved to LA 4 years ago, and I had a chance to go, and it's just so breathtaking actually seeing the posters for Hellboy, for Harry Potter, actually live, like right there in front of your eyes, the actual like the pencil and the paint, and it's just like so like wow. And like even something you can compare to like Harry Potter, like the first 2 movies from the franchise, it was the posters were made by Drew Struzan, and then after that they moved on into digital, and you can put them like side by side, and it's so obvious this difference, right?
Yeah.
And even I think there's this movie Ready Player One. They also made it look like this hand-drawn sort of thing, and I think it's great. I think it's really cool, even if it's digital, but having like this texture being like, it's like almost this mix of like being old school, but still like very modern, right? And I think it's really cool.
Yeah, it felt very Back to the Future poster like. Steven Spielberg talks about doing that on purpose and trying to really capture nostalgia throughout the whole thing. I remember mentioning about the movie poster.
Oh, and it's also so much, right? I mean, I think like Stranger Things and Ready Player One, it just fits so much that style also for like movies from the 80s, because both movies contain so many elements from the 80s, which is like the most perfect style you could actually think of. But
I really liked the Ready Player One movie. I did.
I thought it was awesome.
I was scared I wasn't going to like it, but I liked it.
I liked it a lot.
I thought it was really
I'd watch another one just to explore that world more. Sometimes with movies, I go see a lot of movies because it's one of my things I like to do. But sometimes when they're good ones, you want to understand more, I guess, about the lore and about the appeal of why you like the movie. So you want to understand more facets of that movie. I think that's similar to what people liked about Harry Potter and stuff, and why there's so many good spin-offs and stuff from that.
Yeah. Actually, when I was working as a graphic designer about 3 years ago, I was working at this agency, and they used to work a lot with Warner Brothers, and they brought over like, all right, guys, so we have this movie called Ready Player One. We don't have any work, like any artwork at all. We only have like the log line and the book. If you guys want to read it, and we just need you to make a marketing deck for us to like pitch around ideas of how we can possibly market this movie.
Huh.
So we had to come up and design like the actual like the posters, and that convey like doing illustrations, just doing a lot of design work for that. And I mean, of course, it was not official, but it was a really cool chance to just actually like, we have nothing, you can come up with anything you want. There's like no limits at all. And there were a couple concepts there that actually like came up very similar to what actually ended up in the movie. So that was kind of cool.
Isn't that crazy with agency life? Because then that deck goes out, gets passed around or whatever. I guess I would think other people see it, or people that are trying to push it, and then you start to see remnants of your idea, because even if you don't win the full thing, or it's such an early on process that like, so it's interesting how some of those things come out. And you start to see, it's kind of like what we did, early on. Because how does that work when you're like, because was there any promotion material they gave you, or is it, you say it's just the book, so you're really going off of the style of the book and just nostalgia, right? In general, it was a generic term designed around.
We actually took elements from the 80s and like, all right, how can we make this look 80s and neon and all that? And we're actually falling into Tron a lot, because it was like a lot of like that virtual reality sort of thing. So like, how can you not clone Tron, but actually come up with something slightly new? But it was funny because it was like sort of like us, a team of graphic designers trying to do concept art. And I mean, back then, I mean, I've like on my side, I've always been doing concept art and character design. So for me, it was like, woohoo, let's do this. Like I'm like, this is right up my alley.
I'm about to blow this out the water. Yeah.
But we also had to make it work as a graphic design standpoint, like as a branding sort of thing.
Yeah.
And no, yeah, it's actually, I mean, it's funny as a designer, as an art director, so many times we get projects with absolutely no material, right?
Yeah.
And I think that happens in every single industry and in every single like job that you have, that you're like, all right, we have absolutely nothing, or we can give you like this tiny piece of information, and we need you to build a full brand, a full world out of this, right?
Right. It's the same. That's why I asked, because I was like, I know you didn't have anything to go off of. So I was like, how do you go? What do you do to get something that looks cool if you don't really have anything? Because sometimes they'd be like, we just need you to make something cool. Okay, go.
No, my favorite is, I don't know what I like, or I don't know what I want, but I know when I see it. Okay, cool. But the budget says you have to have an idea. That's a dilemma that us as creatives have to deal with all the time. It's yeah, that's fine. I'm willing to help you investigate your ideas, but your money flow has to come through.
Yeah.
I have bills to pay. I'm not going to be sitting here hand holding you through this whole thing, and then you're going to be like,
Exactly, and that's like the argument. Like, all right, we can build something off of you. Tell me specific things of where we can go. But when your argument is like, well, maybe we can like push it more, do more things. Like, all right, like that's not quite.
It needs more pop.
Yeah. we always get, that's what they hire us for, us make something cool. I was like, okay. And then I'm like, okay, cool, I'll just do whatever I want and just try to keep on brand and let's see if it sticks.
Yeah,
but it's kind of cool. It's at times when it comes out to be good.
So do you guys both, Sochi and Abe, do you guys find we'll just call them the day jobs, you find the day jobs and the the experience that you're getting from the day jobs, did that stuff come in handy when you guys were preparing for CTN?
I think for me, it did. In a way, it did, and then in a way, it didn't. Well, just because, like, for me, switching into full time, like, it was like a really weird transition, and like I kind of had to learn how to like schedule time for myself again, and like for drawing for fun, because I still draw, but I draw at work and I draw like for the game that we're working on and all that. But I think the experience has helped me. And like when I was talking to people, it was nice kind of telling them that I have a job somewhat like in the game industry. It was nice sharing that with people, and I kind of made some like cool connections through that, and like it was like a conversation starter for like a lot of instances during CTN. But at the same time, like I said, time wise, it was kind of like bad timing for me to just start full time, because I initially had planned to do a lot more like personal work to show off like at CTN, and I didn't have like the time to work on that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I would do CTN again if at this time I would like schedule time and for myself to work on like my personal work, because it does kind of, it's harder to work that into like your schedule once you're like full time. At least for me, it has been hard.
Yeah,
that's common. This is the new task.
The new normal.
Yeah, this is your new normal. Like first it was like getting the job, doing well on the internship, updating the portfolio after college.
Yeah.
New ongoing job for the rest of your life now really is making time for your personal work.
Yeah. And
working all day. Yeah.
I definitely still want to because I'm in the game industry and I'm making artwork for games, which is great. I do get to draw. I do get to like hone in on my skill and all that. So I enjoy that, and I'm very grateful for that. However, I would still like to get into the animation industry.
Sure.
That's really where like my passion is at. So working on my personal work is very important to me, because I think that would be like how I would get into the animation industry. So I have to keep up that portfolio, my personal work.
Right.
So just finding time, and then, working out a schedule where I can still like, work my job, but at the same time work on my own goals. So.
Yeah, there's been many of artists that works alongside me that like in the evening time that was still their same goal,
Yeah.
Still many of the goals that I have and other people that have of doing that though. So keep working at it, because I know one in particular was an animator. He worked in the industry for a good long time, but he did like a bunch of work outside of work, right? He did animation mentor while working 40 plus hours in his day job as an animator, and he did animation mentor in the evenings. And then he blew up, and once he left High Voltage and got his gig, I think he got his first gig over at Rhythm and Hues back in the day, and then I think he's working on like Alvin and the Chipmunks first, and then kind of spiraled into that. So I tell that story out there because like he worked his butt off, and got in and kept with it, because people can get complacent. We've talked about this on the show before, but so it could definitely still happen. And I think the cool part about working in games, like it really does help you if you keep with both of them, the day job and the evening stuff. The day job does help you get faster with the stuff you're doing in the evening. Like you're in the concept department. So my other question was going to be how fast have you gotten with sketching and coming up with stuff? Because they pretty much, you guys pump stuff out in that department, especially if you're doing stuff for game and doing iterations and stuff like that. It's like constant like redoing of stuff. So it's good technical practice.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely practice. And the other thing too that I like is that I do it's a different style. Like the game that we're working on is a different style. It's a diversion from like what I would typically draw. So not only that, so I'm kind of learning how to draw differently, which is sounds weird, but that's also important, especially in animation where like every show looks different. Every show, you know, needs like different designers and stuff. So I've also gotten a lot of practice in that aspect where like, you know, I can't draw everything the same. So I'm going to have to match the style of this certain game or this certain show, you know. So that has helped a lot as well. And being in the concept department at my studio. So
I'm excited for you with that. You can become like well-rounded. I have a bias with just game artists and people in the industry because you have to do so much stuff on a game, different ones and different styles and stuff like that. I mean, like in my career role, I've had to do stuff in like a style more like Marvel than I've had to do stuff just as an environment artist. I've had to do a style that mimics exactly how like a Dora and Diego cartoon looks, down to like where I've had like Nickelodeon like critique every part of my environment. Like, no, that doesn't look right. Change this. So like that's why I know when you're like pitching for game stuff or pitching for different IPs and stuff, or you get different intellectual properties, just from the concept side of things, you guys are the first line of defense in terms of making that key art and stuff like that to like sell to get the game, and then like having to like build on that brand, look at all their like brand guidelines and all that good stuff. So like not being a one-trick pony on how you draw is like really, really nice. So I think it'll come in handy when you have to do other styles for when you want to get your film job. You know?
Yeah, you definitely like develop an eye for that. Like, you know, if something, like you said, if something looks off, like it doesn't look exactly right, you know, I have to catch it, or my art director has to catch it, because, you know, it won't look right in the game. You know, so it's always like me just kind of practicing that, making sure that like everything looks stylistically the same, you know, in our game and all that. So yeah.
How's it been with the communication with your outsourcers and trying to convey what you mean in terms of like you're doing a little bit of critiquing, right?
It's weird. It's difficult because not only is there like a language barrier, but there is a cultural barrier as well. Like certain times we'll ask them, you know, draw like a fire truck, and then they'll send us something completely different because to them like a fire truck is different. So that aspect of the job is like, it's kind of tedious because that's less artwork for me. It's more like sending reference images to them and like making sure that the artwork that we get back is what we're asking for. And when it's not, that's when I do get to like, you know, sometimes do draw overs or just completely start from like scratch. But that's also like, I guess, good experience, good. It's almost in a weird way, kind of like art directing. It's kind of like that, but I'm not an art director. But in that aspect, yeah, I'm kind of directing them in the right way, or like the correct path, you know. But yeah. Then changing that aspect of it.
Hey, Abe, earlier you were talking about creating, or that's going to sound weird, so I'll just say making creative briefs and things like that for work. Did any of that come in handy for you when you were getting ready for CTN?
Well, I mean, I guess definitely on the organization part and what exactly like I wanted to have displayed there. I think one thing that I've had to learn on the job as an art director is to keep on track everything that needs to be done for anything, right? Or like the project. And usually as a creative person, like I think we can all share that sometimes it's like, oh, I wanted to do this, I wanted to do that, I wanted to forget this, you know, like that's, at least in my case, that always happens to me. But on this time, actually, this was this actually came in handy for this experience in particular. I will say my job experience, or what I do at work at CTNX, I don't think it was that relevant. In a way that I'm an art director, and people were like, "Oh, you're an art director," but like, yeah, for advertising. I'm like, okay, bye. You know, kind of. And even though it's the gaming advertising for gaming, it's definitely not in the animation industry or in the gaming industry, right? We're on the last end of the actual advertising of making how that project is gonna look to the rest of the world just by the poster, right?
Right.
So for me, like this chance, even though it had absolutely nothing really to do with any of my work that I do at my job, I actually didn't even have anything on display for my job. It was actually like a chance for me to just showcase what I do outside of my job, right? Because that's the stuff that I barely have a chance to actually show. I can see the stuff that I do at work. I can see it on print. I can see it on digital. Like you can see it outside of your own studio. My personal stuff, it's only like right in here, right? So it was like a really good chance to be like, hey guys, this is what I do. This is what I actually had some friends from work coming over to CTN, and they were like, oh wow, like I had no idea you did this. This is actually like this is your stuff, right? This is the actual stuff that you do as an artist, and yeah, it was just like a chance to have to show that instead of the actual work that I do at my day job.
Is your day job the ultimate goal for you? Like Sochi wants to get into animation. She was explaining that. Do you want to also get into animation, or are you kind of good with where you at?
No, I do want to get into animation, which is funny because in a way it's been like a great sort of process of like studying design, being a graphic designer, going into an art director position. But at the same time, it's like I'm at a like a very good position in the industry that I went in on the first time, but like wrong industry, right? So like I'm trying to rebuild that sort of thing. I actually went to graphic design because I was so confused when I started school. I got out of high school and I just wanted to be a painter or a sculptor. I just wanted to create art. I loved art. I love painting. I love stop motion specifically. And it was like, okay, so like you need to be serious. What career you're gonna study? What's gonna make you money? What's a real career? Right. I remember when the few programs of illustration. I'm originally from Mexico, and I moved to Chicago, and I was studying there. And the few illustration programs that
What part of Chicago?
actually like in the super fun suburbs.
Super fun suburb.
Which one?
In the Midwest around Schaumburg.
Oh, yeah. That's where
we were at. Yeah,
that's where we all met.
Probably. And yeah, so it was like the few illustration programs that I found. It was actually like editorial illustration sort of thing. So you know, in the indecisiveness, I was like, okay, let's go into graphic design, and I really fell in love with it. Halfway through the career, I found what actually concept art was, and you know, I actually started drifting into there, and you know, just like self taking online courses and workshops and all that. But yeah, no, definitely going into the animation industry. That's so true. That's the goal. I actually had a chance to have my portfolio reviewed by DreamWorks. They had a couple there. I think Jack.
That's
went into my table, right? And I was at DreamWorks.
I was at your table while you were at DreamWorks, and I was talking to your buddy Jonathan. And I was like, hey, and he's like, oh, you're from DreamWorks? I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, Abe's over at DreamWorks right now. So I never actually got to meet you at CTN.
I know.
I was there on my lunch. I just like was running through.
For sure. That is some ironic timing, huh?
What artwork were you like doing a review for, like TV art or like feature art or animation? Like what kind of?
I actually wanted to get into feature, but I accidentally got signed up into TV.
Okay.
And right away I knew, like, okay, I'm actually not like the TV, and I'm not your TV guy. Like, I think obviously, like, I went in there and they're like, well, yeah, you like, we like your stuff, but it's way too dark for us. And that's funny because I don't know, like if you guys live here in Los Angeles, at Central Stage Gallery, they do sometimes like portfolio reviews.
Yeah.
And all that, and like the main critique I've heard from my work is like it's way too dark for animation. Like
You mean like your themes are dark, or like what you like your subject matter is dark, or what do they mean by that?
Yeah, the subject matters.
Yeah, he does. He took Charlie's idea about some grown ass men hanging out with a little boy.
No, that wasn't my idea. That was yours twisted way of changing my words.
I took that and they were pretty disturbed by it. No, like that's like a very recurrent comment that I hear. So that's a thing that I've been trying to figure out.
Yeah.
How to like remain faithful to that, but also, find like that midpoint, right?
Yeah.
And answer this question, I guess. Maybe Jack, you know this. So when they're looking at artwork or looking at portfolios, is it just a rule of thumb to totally draw based on how that company draws because they don't see past the artwork? They just see what you have in your portfolio, or is it just based on the person? Because they kept saying this stuff is too dark. What is that? Are they not looking at the quality of the work, or they're just looking at like the subject matter?
I think it's
draw dark stuff at work. You got hired there.
I think it's an easy excuse to basically pass through the resume.
Yeah.
Right.
That's partially true. Yeah.
Okay. I just want to get some clarity because that's what it sounded like to me, but I just want to know.
I mean, it's kind of a multifaceted issue. I mean, first of all, like the folks that are doing portfolio reviews at big expos like that, they tend to not be the art directors and the people that you're actually going to be working with, because those folks are back at the studio doing work. The folks there are generally from HR and recruiting, so they might have an art background or art adjacent background, or maybe were artists at one time, but they're kind of one step removed, and they kind of are looking for an entirely different set of, they're trying to fit a separate set of standards that may not actually be entirely accurate to what is needed. And so to answer your first question, Charlie,
yeah,
I think some studios, yes, I think they just say, you know what, like this isn't really, like, look, if you were Klasky Chupo, you're not going to hire anybody that can't really draw in Klasky Chupo style, because all their stuff looked exactly the same, and like that's what they're going to want you to hire for.
Right.
But a studio, I mean, DreamWorks is pretty diverse, especially in the TV department. They've got, they have Voltron and they have She-Ra, but then they also have their standard kind of DreamWorks penguins and Madagascar and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So, that's going to be kind of like, well, let's see if what they're doing is somewhat of a fit for one of our projects. But again, it also depends on what role you're coming in for. If they're looking at you as an art director, they're going to want someone with a vision, something potentially new. It kind of just depends. But then even further, to Carlos's point, I do think to some extent, yeah, they use that as an excuse to pass. But there's like this weird industry like bullshittery that really drives me crazy, and it's prevalent too in like the publishing world, and pretty much every industry has it. But there's like these old school like legacy standards that everybody just thinks are truths that really have absolutely no basis at all in the real marketplace. It's like, I've been struggling with this with my kids' stuff for a long time. People are like, well, children don't like black and white. That's like, that's just the biggest load of, by what standards? And it's like, because if you actually look at the scientific data, you look at the research, and you look at all these other examples, and literally everything that was printed before 1975, everything was in black and white, right? So it's like, I think the same is true in the animation industry, that there's these weird, like, accepted social things like, oh, well, that's just too dark for children. Because I get that to some extent, probably. I mean, I looked at your work, and I think they are saying that for different reasons, but I get that for mine sometimes visually because it's scribbly, or it's dark, or it's black and white and contrasty, and they kind of say, oh, well, it's just too dark for children. And it's like, but that's just like ridiculous, because like sometimes you see these children that are like obsessed with like really adult movies, and they're like really into it. Or, you know, there is content out there that is pretty heavy and pretty dark that is meant for children. So I think some of it is like they're stuck in these weird like social expectations or studio expectations. But yeah, then sometimes I think it's like their polite way of passing.
Mm-hmm.
That is incredibly funny that you actually mentioned the black and white stuff, because one of the main projects that I was displaying at CTN was a picture book that I've been working on, and it's in black and white. So I think,
good luck,
here we go.
it's a picture book, and it's like for kids, and you know you're gonna love it. And they're like, it's in black and white. Well, I mean, they didn't say that.
Look.
But like you could see,
look at Jack.
It's like, this is for kids. Like, this is a
Black
picture
and
book.
white.
Like,
Yeah, check out Jack. Jack has his book up right there.
Yeah,
It's a battle Jack has been fighting for a long time.
It's a real struggle. If you find these, there's like very specific little like pinholes in the industry that people just will not budge on.
mm-hmm.
And I mean, this is one of them. I found it, and man, it's a hard one to move. But I mean, I'm sure Charlie's seen it in his industry. I'm sure you guys, Sochi, you've probably seen it. And I mean, a lot of the industry moves on trends, right? So it's like they find these. Like I notice it when I go to CTN or think that it's like a lot of artists are kind of funneled into like 3 to 4 trends. You know, you've got your like hardcore comic fan art. You've got your like cutesy, you know, I mean, whatever the trend is, there's like 3 or 4 of them generally, and most people fit into that. And then there's like the standout artists that don't, and either that's a really good thing, or it's a really horrible thing, and they're gonna just struggle. And it's not because they're bad; it's just because, you know, the industry is like, you're a little too out of the box right now. You know, it's weird for being an industry of creatives that the entire point of this is to create new and interesting and fresh stuff. When something fresh comes along, sometimes it's like, I don't even know what to do with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the important part of some of the things that we've talked about, even just on this show, where if you do have a passion for, say, a black and white kids book, don't let that go, because that's important to you. But kind of like when I was the career service advisor at the school in Schaumburg, I always told my students, give the portfolio teacher what they want to see, so you can get your good grade. And this goes for portfolios, for resumes, for everything that you think is going to get you where you want to be. Have different versions of stuff, because Abe can very easily have an art director resume. He can very easily also have an illustrator concept artist resume and portfolio that backs that stuff up. So you want to show flexibility when you're trying to do someone else's work, right? But be true to where you want to go with your career, because this is your life. This is what you want to do. So push that too.
Sort of like that midpoint, right? Of like, all right, I have this voice, but I also have to, you know, you also want to meet that standard, right? Meet like that tight pathway that's going to lead to a job in the animation industry.
Right.
And, and it's funny. I mean, like, I think one thing that when I go to CTN and I mean, social, you've seen that, like, you see so many artists and so amazing artists. Is this your first time with the table?
Yeah, it was my second year, like, going to CTN, but it was my first time tabling. So yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Like when you go there, it's so funny because like this year that you're like behind that table, people come to you and they have like a comment that I just heard all the time was like, I'm so inspired, but I'm so intimidated by like everyone.
I hate
You know,
that.
I'm so
Yeah, that's
inspired
true.
by so amazing art, but I'm so intimidated.
I hate that.
And I remember that was I've been going to CTN for 4 years. This is my first year with the table, and every single year it was like that exact same feeling, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm just like I love everything here, and I love everyone here, and it's like a little bit like intimidating of like a reminder of like you're on a good path, but you still have like a long ass way to go, right?
Yeah. It's like,
Um,
well, you're just surrounded by like so many like talented people too that you're like, whoa, like,
Yeah.
you know, how can I compete or like how can I stand out, you know, in this pool of like really, really talented people, you know.
mhm.
It is really intimidating. It was fun, but it was also, yeah, like definitely intimidating at some points for me as well. That CTN week.
I actually, it's funny, at my table next to me it was they had it's this guy, these guys, they're everywhere, they're at every single convention, they have like comics, like
Okay.
a shit ton of comics, like 50 comics, they're pitching around and they're super amazing at pitching
Yeah.
really good products. And you know, the point I was like, you know, like they had like 30 people lined up in there and I was like, hey guys, hi.
Oh,
Like you want
yeah.
I'll give you one for free. But
It's hard selling yourself too, like how it's always weird for me at least to like advertise like my work and like try to sell my image.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to ask about that kind of experience because putting on that switch and really being like a salesperson, that's really tough for a lot of people. Like what was that? I mean, I know Soji, you did GZA and you've done some other stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, CTN's that's a big one.
It was really big. It was hard, I guess. Well, I would say that it was easier when I just kind of talked to people like casually, you know, just kind of was more of like a conversation rather than like, oh, this is my stuff. Like I do this and I do that. And I felt like whenever it was like a casual conversation, that subject just kind of came up naturally.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, people that I got along with or people that we had stuff in common, like they usually were the ones that wanted like support and stuff. So I think it's more about like if you're trying to sell stuff, which, you know, part of CTN is that trying to sell your work, that you know, making like a relationship with like that person definitely helped. But then again, like I wasn't really focused on like selling my artwork. I was more focused on like getting like exposure and like meeting people. It was a lot more of me focusing on that rather than like, oh, how much money am I going to make today, you know? That's at least how I approached it. I don't know about, were you kind of the same, Abraham?
oh, like absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the first couple hours on Friday, I was like trying not to be awkward, just like guys, here is my stuff. Like let me open my book in front of you and there's a print. Like I was like really struggling with that on the first couple hours.
Yeah.
And then he would just like take a deep breath and, you know, just actually like say hi to people.
Yeah.
It's funny because like people are walking over and they like look at you, but then they look away and then they look back at you. And like, should I say hi? Should you say hi?
That happened a lot.
This is the interaction. And he was like, okay, you know, like take initiative. Hey, how you say, you know, like just saying hi and how's it going? And, you know, like let's, and like how you say, not so much about either like pitching or selling or anything, but actually just getting to know that person, right? Just having a conversation with that person. And I think that's so much about what CTNX is about, right? It just like doesn't feel like a networking event. It doesn't feel like this industry sort of thing of like being like formal and trying to get a job or trying to like, no, it just feels like go and talk and just be friends with every single person that you meet. And
I feel like I had you know, like the first few hours on Friday were rough, especially because there wasn't that many people. So I didn't get to like practice my like, you know, my interactions very much until like maybe towards the end of Friday.
Right.
But yeah, like honestly, it was like just a really fun event. And, you know, I forgot a lot of the times that like, oh yeah, this is a networking event, because it just felt pretty natural, like talking to people and getting to know them, getting to know all the other artists there were like really nice too. It just felt very like a community, you know, of like
Absolutely.
friendly people that
Yeah.
I just kind of want to get to know you. So
I think
It's not about like, especially like in LA, like I think we've all been to those like super weird networking events that it just uncomfortable, and just like I just don't feel comfortable here, and I just don't feel like myself.
yeah,
Like everybody's pretending something or to be something. It's like I have nothing to do in here. And like the beauty of CTN is like you just get a chance to just be you and talk to real people, real artists. I think the most beautiful thing is like you realize that every artist is going through the same struggle as you are. They all have the same fears, they all have the same struggles, and like we're all aiming to like a very similar goal. And that just creates this sort of like very like nurturing community in it.
yeah,
because it's things like CTN that, you know, you go there and it's all the same people kind of have the same story, and they speak the same language, and you can go in there and you can say animating on twos or frame by frame, and everyone there is going to understand what you're saying.
yeah.
Whereas you say that stuff at Thanksgiving, they're going to probably ask you to leave the house. You're losing your mind right now. You know, so and I think that's one of the things that you guys just talked about absolutely brilliantly is there's a lot of people there with a lot of really good work. The thing that's probably going to help you stand out is a really good personality and being cool, because there's thousands of people that are there that can draw. And if your personality meshes with someone who might be looking for an illustrator, animator, or whatever, that's where you're going to stand out. That's one of the things that's going to stand out. Your work is obviously so let me say it like this: your work brings them in, your personality keeps them there.
Yeah,
For sure.
it like seals the deal.
Yeah.
And I think Chris Oatley, I don't know if you guys are familiar with him. He has an online school and amazing podcast series. But one thing he says is like the two rules in an animation industry, and honestly, like in any industry, right? Do great work and be great to work with.
Yeah.
Those are the two things that will honestly will just make you will get you there and will keep you there, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean that's something we talk about on this show a lot. And I was kind of thinking about this over the past couple of weeks, and I know I've heard a couple people say, I mean, I've even said it in my past, but I've heard a couple people say like, well, that's just not my personality. I'm not outgoing. I don't feel comfortable talking to other people, whatever the excuse may be. And it's kind of like, that can actually all be learned. It's really easy to tell yourself a story that I'm not that person. I'm not outgoing. I'm not fun to talk to. Like I've told myself that a billion times. Like I'm a totally different person than who I was in college. Like I'm fairly comfortable just walking up to randos and just like starting a conversation. And that's something I would have never done in college. And I kept to myself, and I was self-conscious about my work, and all those things can be learned. And the best way to do them is to just practice at it. And you can go, and Abe was talking about these, people who kind of look at you and give you the side eye, like, and then they look away. And it's like, everybody there is there because they want to see cool work and they want to meet cool people. That doesn't mean they're actually going to do that, because they may or may not have the skills. So, I mean, knowing that they want that, it's like, the first step is just being there. and then you press forward, and you little baby steps, and before you know it, you're having full-on conversations with like ex-Disney pros, and you're like, whoa, how did I get here?
Right.
And it's funny because I've been on the other side, that I'm that awkward guy that is walking and like, I kind of want to say hi, and I kind of want to say like, you're amazing, but at the same time I'm like, should I do it, should I not? And I think like the beauty of having a table and social, I think you would agree with this, is like you have a sense of responsibility, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Like it's like these guys are here, and I'm like part of this.
That's a good way.
Part of the event, yeah.
Discover like something new.
Yeah.
That's an awesome way of looking at it. I think it's really common for I mean, I'm even a little guilty of this, but to go there and be like, oh, I need to sell something, or people need to look at my stuff, and it's like, no, but looking at it that way, people have paid money to come here to see you and to see other artists. I think that's really cool to think that you have some responsibility to effectively show them a good time.
Yeah.
And let me add to that. If you put that much pressure on your having to sell something, and then you don't.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? Whereas if you just change your focus, right? Change your focus, and you go there like, okay, I'm going to work on getting out of my comfort zone. And for me, Jack has seen this like so many times, where me meeting new people is almost a game. It's fun for me. And I harass people, and I'm like, and it's
and you pick the ones that are just the worst at it, and you find this way to bring them out of their shell.
And I get them.
Yeah, you do. It's fun. It's a really fun thing to watch.
That's awesome.
Wow.
But I mean, as a kid, I was like that. I was super quiet. I was nervous to talk to anyone, and talking to girls, my hands would sweat, and I mean that whole thing, right? But then once, like, I went to like 3 different grade schools, 3 different high schools, like, so it's either get good at making friends or you're going to be lonely.
Yeah.
And then the Army throws you into places where you're just like, you have to be cool with the people. And then professionally, as I did a lot of freelance, and again, you have to go in and make friends, otherwise you're in for a very long time.
Yeah.
And like CTN and Ground Zero and all these things, like, for me now in where I am in life, that for me, that's a playground. You mean to tell me you're going to put me in a room full of people that know exactly what I'm going to say when I say it, and they understand whatever I say, they understand, right? Oh, Photoshop? Really? You don't even blah, blah, blah. Sketchbook has that. Everyone understands everything that I just got done saying. So now we have so many things in common. It doesn't even matter what you're saying. They know what you're about to say. Or they're going to, let me say, they're going to understand what you're about to say, right? Because you're amongst your people now.
Right, because you get in that same frequency now.
Yeah,
that's all.
So getting in a room full of people that understand your language that's the hard part. Going up and saying to someone, Mowgli on Netflix, right? That's it. That's all you need. That's all you need.
About that blue face. And that's
Yeah.
No, yeah. No, but I think something, Carlos, that you said, that it's so just going actually, like, either you step out of your comfort zone, and like that story that you can tell yourself, like, well, I'm a quiet guy. I'm shy. I like don't like, like, either you come to me and you talk to me and then I'll kind of open up, but I'm not that type of person. Like, I think for me, like, especially, like, I moved from Mexico when I was 14 and to the US, and I spoke a little English, like, barely, to like make myself like understand, that like, hey, I need to go to the bathroom or stuff like that. But actually having a conversation, it was a completely different game. And I would get put into like these ESL classes. I mean, I don't want to get too deep into it, but ESL classes, and like English as a second language, and they were all filled with Mexicans. So like you think I spoke any English in that class? I didn't. I was speaking Spanish. And then come test time and quiz time, and that I would suck. It was not until I actually passed ESL and I was put into a regular English class that was all right. Are you just gonna sit there by yourself, or are you gonna go out there and actually start speaking English? And that's when I started learning real English, real conversational English.
Yeah.
And I think like that's the one thing. It's very easy to just stay in sort of your comfort zone with everything, right? With speaking to people, with I think having a table and such. I think we both of us being the first time that we have a table, I was like shitting my pants. I was like, I'm not sure if I'm ready to do this.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm sorry. Can you guys like actually
Yeah.
podcast? I'm sorry.
Oh no.
Yeah, we're bad. Thanks. No, you're good, man.
All right. But
now
but
we're gonna have to delete this whole thing.
But I was so nervous, and I was like, I don't know, like, am I actually ready to show my stuff up in there? Like, is this stuff really good enough? Like, you would look around and like, and it's just not giving a damn and actually just jumping in, right, and taking that leap. And
that's it.
Like, there's so many voices in my head that could tell me you're not ready to have a table. You should wait for the next year, and then the next year it will be the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not until you be like, you know what, I don't care about it. I'm just gonna do it. And it's just,
it gets real once you get there, right? It's like people fall in love with ideas of things, and like even if it's good ideas, right? So like you're getting prepared. Think back a month before CTN. You're preparing. Cool, it's good, but like I found when I've had to talk in front of people, or if I had a big event where I knew a lot of people were going to be there, or talk in front of like 100 people or something, it's weird because even as you're like setting up, you're driving there. It's not for me. It's not until, and you guys probably had the same thing when you're like setting up your table or whatever. As you're setting up, it crosses your mind like, ooh, or once it starts, you're like, ooh, or that first person you look at, like you said earlier. Then it's like, now it's real, yeah. And pressing through that one moment in time. I even go through that now. I've talked in front of a bunch of places now, and I'm a natural talker, as you guys all know. But like, even like right before going on, and usually for me, it's like right before going on, or like being up on stage or wherever I'm at, right before I say, hey, what's up? And I start going into it, it still crosses my mind for a split second, like, I'm just gonna let somebody else do this real quick. Like I'm just gonna pass it real quick. I don't really want to do this intro. I don't really want to talk about this. It does happen. Before it used to like linger before as you're setting up or as you think about that day. Now I've gotten to the point where it only hits me right before. And I'm like, shoot. And then I usually just be like, all right, whatever. and then I just start talking, and it gets better. But it still happens, which I think is good. It's like a gut check beforehand. Like, make sure you have your stuff together, know what you're going to do, and like, be your own best cheerleader and say, just push through, just do it. You'll be fine,
Mm-hmm.
And usually that's when I'm like, oh, well.
Here's another tip. Ignorance is bliss. The more you've researched tabling at CTN or Ground Zero, the more you listen to people's stories, the more you're going to talk yourself out of it.
Mm-hmm. Telling people to stop watching this show.
No, not at all. Like, watch, because we are awkward AF, and we'll see you guys there, and we will harass you. But
I'm not awkward. I'm pretty cool. Just saying.
But no, like
ignorance, like I think like everybody that like starts in any career path or makes a move. I remember when I moved to LA 4 years ago, I was just like so ignorant, so stupid, and so like, oh come on, like Disney and DreamWorks are gonna fight each other to like hire me. Like, everybody's gonna like fight over me to hire me, right? And then I get here and like, please just give me a job. I don't care if it's like whatever, just like money. And that, but it's like this ignorance that just keeps you sort of like pumped up, right?
Yeah,
Right.
it's true.
Like, I don't care how hard it is. I'm ignorant enough to believe this is
Right.
actually going to happen and this is real. And the non-ignorant voices are the ones that tell you, you know how hard it is to get a job in that industry. You know how hard it is to actually make it. Like get serious and get a job and make like an actual like stop drawing and doing your doodles. You can do that on your free time. Just get a job, right? And and I think in that sort of way, I think most artists are ignorant in that way, and I think that's amazing.
And that's where ignorance is healthy, because you have to be dumb enough to succeed. And
That's awesome,
Carlos.
and that sounds mean and blah blah blah, but again, you know, there's so many sayings that you can throw on this pile, you know. Paralysis by analysis, right? You research something so much that you freeze up and you don't make a move. Whereas if you maintain that ignorance is bliss mentality, like, yeah, so people are going to fight over me because of my work, because my work is dope, right? You need to have that mentality.
Yeah.
And we can throw out so many different examples of someone who we all know, super smart people that haven't done anything with their life. Super smart though. They know everything about everything.
right?
Like legit know everything about everything, but they're too afraid to follow their dreams. That's why I'd rather be well. Speak
like-
of
like-
the devil. Noel is here.
Like Forrest Gump kind of thing, right? I rather
Right.
Forrest Gump, the guy that like
Exactly.
has no idea that he's good at stuff and he has no idea of things. He just like goes and does it, and you know that sort of mentality, right?
Right. And that's, I mean,
I actually love that phrase that you said, the paralysis by analysis. I had never heard that before, and that is so true for even for personal projects. I have been like, you start overanalyzing things, you start overthinking things, and like, wait, I'm gonna start this, but how is this gonna happen? And this and this and this and this and that, and then you just get lost in this crazy maze. And that personal project goes into the same drawer that the last 20 personal projects have gone into, right?
Right. And even when you're drawing something, right? That's why if you listen to anyone who teaches drawing and all this stuff, they always say, get the big fat pencil first and just get some shapes down. And then you can build from there. And then the more you work it, the more you refine it. And then you get clay, same thing.
Right.
Don't overanalyze it. Just start putting things there.
You mean you don't model the big toe first and then do everything else?
There might be some people that do that, but I'm not that guy. Noel is here. Yay. Shiloh's here. Yes. Hi, guys. So, yeah, anyway.
So, in terms of like expectations, what did you guys like? What was your expectation of going into CTN as tabling artists and kind of coming out? What were your expectations met, different, exceeded, totally different?
Well, for me, it was more like I just kind of wanted to like meet new people and like maybe make some like connections and all that kind of stuff. I feel like I definitely got that. I met some cool people. And I think I didn't go in expecting to make a lot of money. I was just kind of like, if I make my money back, cool. But if I don't, that's fine as well. Because I paid for my table months ago. So to me, like,
it's already done.
The money's gone.
it's like it's gone either way. Like, I've forgotten about it.
Right.
Yeah.
No, but I definitely when I was like getting ready for CTN and stuff, I felt very unprepared. So for me, I was like, shoot, like I think I'm not gonna have a good time just because I'm not prepared. I don't feel like I'm ready. Like also like how Abraham was saying is like you get in your own head sometimes. You're like, I feel like I'm not ready to table. Maybe I should have waited, all this stuff. But no, like the community there is like really friendly. Everyone was really cool. I kind of got what I wanted, which was just like, a weekend of like interacting with people who have like similar interests with me. And I had a really good time. I mean, my expectations weren't high. And I think that's why, I had a good time. Like I just kind of
she's being
you'll say that.
she's being all humble and stuff, but let me show you guys my laptop. This is my laptop, right? So everyone sees my laptop and they're like, oh, cool. But that one right there, that's the showstopper.
Yeah.
That's everyone always, and you know what's cool is I'm like, yeah, my friend did that. Yeah, girl.
I love
Everyone always says, ooh, that one's so cool.
I love it.
Not
I
to be-
didn't have high expectations, so I think I had a good time.
That zombie girl that you had
like
in your banner at your table,
She had a new one.
that was for me. Like she had like this banner with the zombie girl, kind of like green skin and black hair.
Is it new? I want to
Um,
see this. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't think she's a zombie. Is she? She's like a mermaid.
I did it during like the mermaid month. So during the month of May,
Yes.
I was doing like the mermaids, and I was, for some reason, I was like, I just want to draw like a really decrepit looking mermaid, because you always see like really hot mermaids and like really
Yes.
cute. They're fun, but I was like, I want to explore like something,
That
dark,
ratchet mermaid.
but like cute at the same
Yeah.
time.
No, I saw that and that stopped me on my tracks. I was like, this is really this is like a really cool mermaid. And then I saw your name, so Chilean, like
Yeah.
for me, like anytime that I would see something Mexican or Latino in
Yeah.
something, I was like, hola!
Yeah.
Hola, hola!
You had a friend with you, right?
Yes. On
You
the,
the one wearing like the cool like sarape, was that it? Or it was like a sweater, right?
oh shit, I remember. I mean, I know I was
you were wearing something like that when I was over there.
Okay, so yeah, I do remember you. I was like the first day, like on a Friday when you stopped by my table. I'm pretty sure that's
that's him.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
him. That's him.
I
Yeah.
made a realization just now.
What?
Brown kids all over this show.
Are the majority.
Yeah, baby.
Yep.
We'll call this episode Brown Town.
Brown.
Oh my God.
I don't know if
I
I
was
like that.
like when people would walk out of my table, I'd be like, just make sure here's my business card and just remember me.
Yeah.
No,
That's up on so many levels.
remember me. Handing out my business card.
So messed up. Oh man.
No, but I was really amazed by seeing so much like Latino voices in CTN.
Yeah.
I think that was really cool. I had no idea Jorge Gutierrez was going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a chance to go in there, but some friends went in there like, Jorge Gutierrez is here. We took some pictures. He's doing like this thing, whatever. And
I
like,
he was at Designer Con that
Me too.
weekend. So he actually did show up for a bit.
he did show up. Yeah,
Oh,
he
okay.
was there. I didn't get a chance to like just go there, but I knew he was there.
He
Yeah.
was super
And that
cool.
was-
I met him. I was walking by and I saw him and I said, "Oh, hey, what's up, dude?" He goes, "What's up, dude?" I was like, can we take a picture? He's like, yeah, totally. And he was talking, some other guy had just stopped him. And then so he was like trying to back up to get out of the picture. I was like, no, dude, come here, dude. I interrupted you. You got to be in here now. And like, come on. So we all, it's like a bunch of us that I interrupt.
Nah, he's such a cool dude. I've only met him once, and he was like such like, because you're geeking out, and you're like, oh my god, what's going on with us? Just be cool, be cool, be cool, be cool. And then he's like, like the chillest person you've ever met. Yeah, like,
I met him twice. I met him once because he came to my school once at Cal State Long Beach for a talk. And I met him a second time at DesignerCon, but like last year, not this year. And both times he was just like, hey, what's up? Like, it's just like, it's almost like he knows you, or he acts like he knows you. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carlos Noel said you're gathering pictures for the restraining order.
Yeah. Was there a highlight for you guys? What was that? Was there a one point that you're just like, there it is?
I think for me, besides the whole experience of being at the table and you're just on the go all the time,
right?
That's the one thing that going back to your previous question about the expectations or that kind of stuff, I had no idea what to expect, because every time I had gone to CTN, it was just such an overwhelming experience, an amazingly overwhelming experience of seeing so many amazing artists, and at the same time, like, not knowing where to look, but talking to everybody and just everybody being so cool and giving you, if you ask for advice, they would give you advice. And that was just like, this is really cool. And having a table like all the time, like a person says hi, they go and you're like, all right, hey, hi, like, you all the time you're talking, interacting. And I think there was an unconscious point in my mind when I was just like talking to people, like a part of my brain was just like you, Charlie, like take a breath,
just take a breath. Yeah,
you realize where you are, realize what you're doing, and realize how this is like so surreal. That you're in a convention as amazing as CTN is, and you are here with the table and you are showing your work and people are actually responding to it. That's, I think, for me as an artist, that gave me so much like encouragement to hear like people are invested in my artwork. I think, like Sochi, for example, you and I don't think we printed stuff to sell stuff. I had no intentions to like sell anything. I was like, if I can make $10 out of all this stuff, I already won. I already made a profit.
I made prints like 2 days before the show, and I'm like, it is what it is. Like, if I sell, it's cool. If I don't, it's all right.
I thought you was like, whatever.
I actually felt like really, when I walked in there and I was like, everything is here. Of course, I forgot a couple things here and there, which I brought in on Saturday. But print-wise stuff, I think I was like, I'm good. I did it all at the last minute, of course, as I always do. But I got it done. And I was like, okay, this out. It's here. And I was not really expecting to make at all any profit, because for me, like, this is an investment sort of thing, this is not to make a profit. If you want to make a profit, you can, I don't know, I'm sure there are other ways to actually make a profit.
He's gonna say you could sell crack.
Exactly. But I think that was definitely, like, at some point I was just talking and with people, and that was like, came like a very highlight sort of thing of who you are. Appreciate this moment, appreciate this weekend, appreciate that, like pat yourself in the back that you took the chance and you took the risk to get a table and to get yourself out there.
Right.
And I think another moment was I think it was one of the after parties kind of thing on. I think it was Friday. After they would close down and everybody was chilling at the fire pits and all that, and then out at the other bar on the other side.
Wait, there's fire pits. Oh.
Depending on where you go.
That's what you got excited about?
Yeah, dude.
And I think just like being like just hanging out there with these amazing artists and artists that it's funny that I would usually geek out and I would be like all like awkward, like oh it's you know, and it's like no, like you just having a beer with this person, just talking.
Huh.
And that was one feeling of just like, you're here, you know, just make the most out of it. You're gonna have a great time.
Those events are a really cool way of like leveling the playing field and like kind of, you know, everybody, like we said, everybody's there for the same reason. You may have come from all different levels of experience or backgrounds, but like you've kind of all come together and just this cool gentleman's agreement, like we're just all here, and it's like all the walls are down. It's really nice that way.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Should we bring this one in for a landing and start doing artist inspiration?
You're the inspiration.
Look at, yeah, buddy.
Yeah, see? He understands it.
Oh, boy. All right. This week, since we're talking concept artists and such, we're going to look at Peter Moorbacher, independent artist from Chicago. You see?
Got a little James Jean going on here. I like it.
This dude, listen.
I've done him.
Oh,
have you?
Really? Well, we're doing him again.
Well, we're
He's
doing
good.
him
He got
again.
new stuff. I haven't seen this one.
It's an update.
So yeah, I guess we'll just do an update, or because I have another one that I can show too. But
all right, I take it back. I haven't done him. I don't think.
Oh, okay.
I don't
because usually what I do is I'll go to Sketch Zone and I do a search, just to make sure because we do have fire every week.
But yeah, I have done it. I would think so. Or we talked about it because saw him at what you call it, but whatever. We'll see.
Okay. Well, he's good enough to be shown twice.
For sure. Yes.
Yeah.
Apologies.
This dude with his golden snake chilling.
Charlie, go back to the fire pit.
Yeah. I've been trying to get him on too. Because he lives like right up the street in Arlington Heights.
You for real? Go knock on his door. Get him in.
Seriously. Come on.
These are one of them books, some coffee table art books that Carlos is just like pop up and buy.
Slacking.
That good. I'm sorry. Yeah, I need to figure out how to get
slacking. Just throw a ball in his yard and be like, "Oh, oops, sorry."
Yo, because I can walk around with a ball.
You gotta make Sketch Zone balls.
Ooh.
Yeah, there you go. Just start throwing Sketch Zone.
Yo, we should do that for
Sketch Zone stress balls.
Just throw little Nerf balls with the Sketch Zone logo at people.
In people's booths.
Ooh, we're on to something.
Or get one of those stress ball launcher potato gun things.
Oh. Can you imagine if we came at the table and we're just like launching little Nerf plush Sketch Zone balls? Like I got one. Tell them to come by the table and say hello.
That's when we go to jail for assault.
They're Nerf balls. They're little balls that big.
Too touchy.
I don't know. We have Jack do it. He won't. They won't take Jack. We good.
Why not?
That's really cool.
That one's different than his others. I like that.
I like the color and the graphicness of it.
Yo, his work is just vivid. Hey, Carlos, does he have any like time lapse or anything at the bottom of these or anything? No. I always want to know. Like, I think he does Photoshop, but so much detail with his stuff. They give me that whole Magic the Gathering card type deal. You know, Like those type of artists that do like
Good
Dungeons and Dragons or Magic cards.
I gotta say, this is better than that.
It's like more vivid.
Those tend to sometimes struggle in several departments.
What's his book called? It's the
book,
Angelarium or something like that.
Right? Yeah, it's like a blue book. Yeah.
Yeah,
he needs to make another
I
one.
saw the first volume a long time ago, and I was like, "This guy is out of this world."
Longarm says he's got his own podcast.
Yeah. Oh, he does. I think he does. Yeah. He was at he's always at the Chicago Comic Con. You know, with a line. He's one of those guys that has a line from his little table. And he's got a table up front, not in Artist Alley. It's like up front, like amongst the vendors.
I can see why.
Yeah. It's great.
Oh, .net.
Very cool.
Very, very cool.
I want to see if I can finally. Here we go.
There it is.
Angelarium.net. He's got
his stuff has really good like IP. Like I want to see like a world or some type of like
story all that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, like who are the
This needs to be a place Keanu Reeves explores.
Yo, who are you?
And I think what's amazing about artwork is that he actually like there's so much research behind.
Oh, here we go. Here's the time lapse.
See, I knew it. He's like drawing that. Like
he's one of those paint and gray first type.
I'm always fascinated by the people who
like build this value.
really use the grid warp. Just like go nuts with that grid warp.
Right? Like he uses it.
Like Aaron Blaze just.
That's awkward because I'm that type of guy.
No. I think it's awesome. I'm just always amazed because I actually honestly I kind of forget that it's there, but it's so useful.
He's almost using it for posing and stuff, right?
And I always forget about it, but some folks just like kill it.
See, this is crazy to me. Look at this. It is so sketchy and kind of rough, but it's awesome. But in my head, it's so much work to get to that those vivid paintings he has. Like, how do you switch the colors?
Charlie, it's only been a minute and 40 seconds.
Or has it been an hour because it's sped up so much? Dude, look at that. What is this?
Yeah, see, now
always happens with these time lapse. It's next thing you know, it's like color.
Exactly.
Like how you get such a dark gray. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Carlos.
One of the things that it's cool. There's music playing and I couldn't hear. One of the cool things that, and I think Jack was saying this earlier, where people, when they're doing these illustrations, you see a lot of photography techniques getting dropped in here. All those little panels, all these curve panels and color picker panels and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Adjustment layers and all that. So.
Yeah, you have a tendency to forget that that's there, and those are all tools.
How is she gonna turn really dark middle gray into like beautiful blue?
Very cool.
Blue and gold.
So we're Peter Moorbacher.
Yo, isn't there a famous line decker? Who is he? It's one of my favorite artists, right? Old school artist. You know he's on the right track because his last name just sounds like it should be like a famous artist. Peter Moorbacher. All right, let's go. My turn.
All right. Chuck, you feel like going?
I do feel like going. I always feel like going because I like this stuff. Here we go. So I went 3D. No surprise there. But I have a new artist. She's my new favorite of the month. Here we go. This young lady's name is Maria Panfilova, and can you guys see that? Yep. And she's I want to be like her when I grow up. She's a character artist, 3D from Moscow, Russia. I'm gonna say it's hard as a character artist, to have a unique style at times. I feel in 3D. I feel like sometimes I come across these artists that stand out just because their style is unique. They found a style they like and they go with it. Sometimes you see it all the time with 2D artists, right? And like illustrators and stuff like that. They have a style, and then you see a lot of the same thing with character art. But then you come across artists like Maria here, or Raphael Grassetti, or Danny Williams, or something that has a unique style. Danny Mac. All these guys have unique styles in different ways. This is Maria's, and it's like fine art, like sculpture, mixed with like just the 3D stuff. So like look at some of her work. So this is like Conan Barbarian was like a little challenge she did between another character artist named Eugene, which they went off the same concept art, and like she just did it in her style. And her style is just very like, looks like it's like was like sculpted by hand but painted by hand also, but it was like very like artistic, like bunch of paint was thrown on top, layered, very messy look to her texturing and stuff like that. Now you can see her modeling in her sculpting work is phenomenal. She commands the medium pretty well in terms of like doing both realistic and stylized. But I love how she treats the final, right? Because this looks more like the regular, like straightforward, like character 3D sculpt, but like the way she textures it, and look at the hair, how it looks like it's sculpted instead of like just being like stringy hair. It has this like rough feel to it, which I think is really, really cool. But if you see some of her other stuff, some of her more traditional character work stuff looks statuish. I think she did it for Marvel. A lot of character artists do that now, especially with the ZBrush stuff and how easy it is to make stuff for 3D printing and stuff like that. That's like another market for character artists now, is like you can like work for Marvel or DC or one of these other ones and do maquettes basically, and then they take your ZBrush file and as long as you like prepare it correctly, they can do really crazy figurines and toys and stuff like that off of it. So that's kind of cool that the medium has evolved to that. But this one caught my eye because this is like one of the splash screens for one of the other programs I use, texturing programs called Substance Painter. So they use this one, but it's this dragon and its little mouse. And I love this is like my current favorite piece that she does. It's just a weird cool juxtaposition between the huge dragon and a small mouse. And it's lit really well, it's painted really well. It's really cool. I like it a lot. Some of her other stuff, like this monkey too, it's in that same vein. Check that out here. And obviously her stuff is lit and rendered and presented really well too.
That'd be cool if it was casted in bronze.
Ooh, yeah. So it's just like reeks coolness, There's a couple other ones and then we can move on. But like, so her texturing is really good too. But you can tell she likes to do that. There you go, Jack. Want just more of the gray, but yeah, it's really cool. It's a cute monkey. Yeah, some other work here. Yeah, some cool stuff here. Then some more stylized work here. This one's interesting too here because this one looks 2D, right? But this one is her modeling it in 3D, and then the way she wanted to present this piece was she painted over it. So you can see if I do the block out here, boom, you can see the different stages, or what she did.
Interesting.
Interesting way she chose to do it. Ready to paint over. So this is what the raw 3D model looks like, and then the final piece there. So I liked her portfolio because she had a lot of different things where she's just trying different stuff. I mean, she has some of the more traditional stuff here too, but a little Lion King. All comes back full circle. That's my plan. Yeah. Some game character stuff. Anatomy studies. Yeah, so her name's Maria Panfilova. She's really, really good. This was another really good one. She's won some awards for this one. Just getting into her bag.
Angry.
Yeah. So check her out. She's got really cool stuff. It's another good one. I know this one.
Nice one, Charles.
Yep.
Nice.
Maria Pavlova. Get it in your life. Check it out. Oh.
Cool. Jack, ready?
Yes. So I'm doing. He's a well-known guy, but not everybody knows who he is. Rob, and I think it's Mommaerts. Mommaerts. He's an illustrator that works for loads of comic book companies and freelance and whatnot. But he's after my own heart with his line work.
Ooh, black and white.
Nice. But he does kill the color when he gets to it.
They always do.
But he does some of these really like funky ones, which in fact that's his little tag. I draw silly things. There's a couple that just crack me up to no end. That these like really bizarre, like kind of unexpected ones. I really like.
This guy's really good at arm wrestling.
Hey, look, sketch wallet.
Hello.
That's a lot of detail in those things.
Yeah, he's got that kind of like super etching going on, which I really love. I always
an ink.
What's that?
Is it like brush and ink there?
Yeah, he's old school with the brush.
Wow.
Yeah, you can see him. You can see that up close.
I just spill ink. I just drip ink all over my drawing. It just make me mad. I just be clumsy with it as I'm getting up. I knock it over or something.
I always am impressed when they can do the like hatching stuff, and it kind of goes in all different directions, and it still looks good.
This color stuff reminds me of like the nostalgia's hit me a little bit. Like it's I don't know, editorial newsprint or something like that, or Sunday Comic.
Yeah.
Cool.
So check him out. ROBBMOMMAERTS. I'll drop it in the notes.
Sweet. I just started following him. I'm gonna go with Sochi since she's been here before and she's an OG, triple OG.
All right. How do I do this again? Let me see. Sorry.
Over on the left.
Oh, good.
Okay. Yeah.
Green, the green monitor with the arrow.
Is it working? Let me see.
Not yet.
There
you
it
go.
Got it.
Okay. I think she's been like shown on the show before.
Yeah.
When Steph Obel was like on the show.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she's actually a friend of mine. So we know each other like personally. We like each other's work. And I really, really love her work. I love how loose she is with like her drawings.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's something that I have like an issue with. I feel like I tend to like clean up really, really quick. And with Janet, I think she like takes time to like, do like some rough sketches. I don't know. I feel like it's rough, her work, but there's like so much personality in like her characters and her color work too. Her color work is really good. She's really good with gouache, which is something that I'm not very good at. I'm way more comfortable in like a digital medium, but she's not afraid to like work with like ink and gouache. Like I said, yeah, I really, really enjoy her work. Her character stuff is great. Like I said, lots of personality in her sketches. Sketches for me, when I sketch in my sketchbook, like you won't understand anything that's going on. It's kind of just for me, and like I can interpret it, but no one else would be able to really get what's going on. And I kind of want to have like the skill that Janet does, which she's she sketches and you can right away understand what's going on with like her characters and her drawings and all of that.
Was she at CTN this year?
She was not. She went, but she didn't have a table.
Okay.
Yeah, I just really, really enjoy her work. I always let her know that I really, like, I'm always really inspired by her, by her work, and
true story.
I just want to like grab a pen. I'm really bad at ink too. I'm like kind of scared of it. But every time I see her work, I just kind of want to like grab a pen and like start drawing. And even though I'm like, you know, I don't practice it that much, but I really, really admire like what she does with her ink work. Yeah.
Cool.
And again, that's one of those ignorance is bliss moments. Like if you just jumped in and you're like, I got this, whatever, boom, and started hammering out some ink, I'm sure you'd be fine. You have the skills to be successful. It's just getting over that getting fear,
out of your way,
right? Yeah, if you don't overthink it. Now I will say I'm guilty of that too, because like we had Tiffany Mang on, and she's like, oh yeah, I love painting, and I just grab my stuff and I go and I said, yeah, I wish I had the courage to, because I don't know however much that costs, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
She goes, no, just go out there and do it. I said, no.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely need to like just like do it. I have like, it's funny, I have like a whole bag full of like pens and like ink markers, all these.
Oh, you ready to go? You ready to go? Yeah.
Like I just kind of, I mean, I'll use like Copic. I don't know how you pronounce it. Is it Copic or Copic?
Copic. Good.
Yeah, I'll use those. And like I've kind of gotten comfortable using those because I kind of like do a rough sketch with them and then kind of clean up with a darker Copic marker afterwards. So I've kind of gotten around to using those, but like using pens that have like the very fine point, to me, I get scared using, like, for example, this drawing here, she's using a pen with like a very fine point. For me, that's something that I cannot do. Like it'll look really, really messy, and she's just more confident, I guess, with her strokes. That's something that I need to learn. If I'm using like ink, I need to learn how to be like confident with my with the shapes that I choose or the lines that I put down on the paper, all of that. So,
and even that, social, I think like one of the things that you mentioned at first when we were looking at her work was that her work is so loose and rough, but it has so much personality about it.
Yeah, definitely.
I think we tend sometimes, like, I'm so scared of doing line work. I'm so excited when I'm doing the sketch and the rough drawing and the rough sketch, and I'm like, and like you get in the mode, right? And even like your expression and your whole body posture goes into that gesture that you're drawing. But when you have to clean it up and make that beautiful line, I think we all get scared of that. But having that met with just making rough work, but beautiful rough work with such personality, I think your style specifically, it would be amazing. I think you have that already. I think you would really nail that sort of loose, rough, but with extreme personality, like your mermaid.
Yeah,
it would be really cool to see that.
Yeah, I definitely need to keep exploring more with like ink. But yeah, I do hope to like and see, the thing is, she published like or she didn't publish, she made like this book for Ground Zero. And it's a lot of like really loose sketches, you know, a lot of ink and stuff. And this is kind of like, I look at this, I'm like, this is kind of what I want to do. Like I want to have like a sketchbook that I could sell that's just like rough sketches, you know, or ink drawings and stuff. Because like I said, I just tend to like clean up really quickly. Yeah, but I really, really enjoy Janet's work.
Yeah, it's really good. Really good. You got with your Copic markers? Do you have that blender? Have you been trying to use
The
a
blender,
blender marker? Yeah.
I do. I don't use it that much because with like my Copic markers, I really only have like gray markers. And I kind of have a system already with how I use like my Copic markers. Like I'll use like a really light tone to kind of do like an underdrawing, and then from there I'll kind of build up with like darker Copic markers and stuff. That's like really the only time I use like ink, and I'm comfortable with it. Other than that, I'm not very comfortable with ink, which is why I don't do Inktober, but I really should.
Do it.
I know, I need to.
Do it.
Start with one a week.
Like a digital Inktober. So I might do that.
You gonna make a thing?
I've done Inktober. I've done Inktober a couple of times. That's how I do it. I'm not.
I do. Like if I do Inktober like this next October, I would like to do it with actual ink. So I want to practice,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm with you with the line. Like I was actually talking to Jack about this a couple weeks ago, where that rough line, you just go in there. This whole time I've been trying to work on a nice, smooth, long line, one nice, long, smooth line. And I finally get it. And I'm like, man, I really want the choppy line.
Yeah. I get you.
But yeah. All right, Abe, you have anyone you want to show off real quick?
I do. It's his name is Ramon Nunez.
Ooh.
And you guys have heard of him maybe. He does a lot of character art.
Yes, he's a good one.
Oh wait, hold on. I'm going into his website. I haven't even shared. Hold on.
He's just visiting the site with himself. Yeah, it's great. See this here?
I've done that.
You see it? Don't you see it? Oh, nothing at all. All right, I think I got it. Okay, cool.
Perfect.
So his name is Ramon Nunez, and I'm sure you guys have maybe seen his work. He does this amazing character artwork, and I think very similar to you, Sochil. They are so loose, so rough, but they have so much personality in them. Like the essence of the characters are just like in there.
His Black Panther ones are great.
The
one for Black Panther, it's really good. Yeah.
Like where is he? Come on, Jon Snow. There it is. Look at that worried look on his face all the time. It's there, and I think like it's so great seeing like he has such a rough. I mean, look at those hands. They're just like so rough and so loose, but they just give you that sort of like personality, right?
Mm-hmm.
The highlights in his characters, I think it's like a key in his work, having like those like light and shadows and color working on them. I think that's a very specific thing on his work, which he can do very loosely, and it will translate extremely readable and just atmospheric. He does a great job at that. I think when I found out his work, it was during last year during Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
He started doing every week a character, and every single Sunday every single week he would post a new character, and you guys can see this, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if you guys are a fan of the shows, you will just be like, oh man, like the personality, right? Like it's just all in there, and it's just like all so rough, but I think it's so great.
Oh.
I like that one.
Come on, look at that. Like the eyebrows, no? The eyebrows and the lip and like the bitch face. It's all in there. The crazy eyes of this.
Been drinking a little bit too, like.
So good. But I think what I love the most about is like the roughness of it. I think that's what I'm like the gesture, but the roughness that you can see the brush strokes in every single stroke. I think that's for me is like I can really love and appreciate like extreme cleanup and rendering. But there's something so raw about this that is just like I don't know. It translates into into a whole new level, I think.
Yeah.
We saw Jon Snow, Daenerys, but Q like again like the rim light, right? Like the lighting and and the shades. It's like sort of like knowing sort of I think if you look at his other work, for example, I think that's what's amazing. That you can, he has a very caricaturesque and graphic and rough way of doing things. But then you look at this stuff, and like the guy knows his shit, right?
Right.
Like he knows his color, he knows his light, his color theory, his anatomy, and it's this sort of like, I think what I admire about Picasso so much is the fact that he was such an amazing realistic painter, but he would go back to do these graphic shapes and graphic things. And I think that it really correlates to animation, right? Like before you start doing caricatures and characters and cartoons, you could really master like actually learning how light works, how color works, composition, anatomy, and then you translate it into a caricature way, and it would just make it even better.
Nice.
This lady is such a badass. For those who watch the show.
Yeah, simplifying these faces, so but still nailing the characters are really hard to do.
And I think what he did with this specific series of like during the like the couple weeks that Game of Thrones last, posting this artwork, I think that's not only like graphically and like artistically it's great, but it's also like in a way of like marketing. I think it's a really smart way to do it, right?
Right.
Like that's how I found him, and that's how a lot of people found him, because he decided to do this sort of fan art.
Yeah.
And at the perfect timing, with the perfect show, with the with the skills, at a point that she's like, I'm ready to show this and to actually like make something out of it. And like that's in the other way, not only the creative way, but the marketing business aspect of it. I think that was really great.
And his videos are so good.
He's so funny also, I think, and I love it.
Yeah. And he does a lot of it as in Spanish or whatever, but
with English subtitles if you guys want to check it out. And
but he's just hilarious, dude. He says, "Watch my videos. I'm chévere." Like someone's a good time if they use that word chévere.
Yeah.
Cool. So we'll go ahead and wrap this bad boy up. So welcome to the family, Abe.
Thank you guys so much for like inviting me, Jack. Thank you so much for going over, even though we didn't meet personally.
Right.
I had really no idea what to expect. And like I just had a really good time just chatting with all of
Awesome.
you.
We'll have you back on so we
Alright.
get to go deeper into who you are, because
How'd you make it out of Chicago?
basically is one of the questions we'll ask.
How out of Mexico? That's the real question.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's steps to this.
But if people are looking to find you online and follow your work, where can they find you?
I'm at as Abe Calendar as the calendar of the year. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. My website same as Abe Calendar. You can find me in there, and yeah.
Cool.
As Facebook, either is my page, like my fan page. That's Abe Calendar. If you guys just want to add me on my personal account, it's Abraham Matias Calendar. That's my full name. A little bit more complicated. So that's why my full name is David Abraham Matias Calendar.
Oh,
So that's why I like
okay.
I'm Mexican, and I was Mexican, have like 30 names.
Yeah.
So I just took it down to use Ape Calendar. That might be easier. But yeah. If you can you guys can add me in there, find me in there, and let's keep in touch.
Cool.
For sure.
Awesome. Thanks again. How about you, Sochi?
So you can find me on Instagram as Chalks in a Box. That's CHOX, because a lot of people, I don't know, they think it's spelled differently, but yeah, Chalks in a Box on Instagram, and my website is xochithinesart.com. I'm also on Twitter as Chalks in a Box, but I don't use Twitter that much.
I don't think any of us do, huh?
Yeah, no, I know.
never use Twitter.
I keep hearing it's
No. Jack uses
for
Twitter.
like artists, and they're like, I guess there's like a art community in on Twitter, but
Yeah.
I need to use it more in order to kind of get the full benefits of it. So
Use that hashtag.
Yeah.
Yeah, Twitter. Hey, how about you, Charlie?
Hey, you can find me on my website, carlcollect.com/CharlieBWilliams. You can find me on Instagram/CharlieBW3. Almighty Twitter. There's a bunch of good stuff on there. I mean, Almighty Pinterest. Good stuff on there. Shout out to Corey out there. Look at that Pinterest stuff. You really need it. So check that stuff out. A bunch of good stuff. Corey's getting into ZBrush and stuff like that, so he needs characters and all that good stuff. So good job. And yeah, thanks everyone for coming on. This is a full show today. Thanks.
Cool. How about you, Jack?
As always, I'm at sketchbookjack.com. And you know what? Sketchbook Jack, a couple other places, but I'm killing them off one by one. I'm about 2 clicks away from jumping off Facebook. So
yeah,
Instagram is usually where you can find me.
Instagrams.
Sketchbookjack.com is a good one.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. And I'm coconutjustice.com, Coconut Justice everywhere else. Let's see. This is Sketch Zone. If you want to find us out there, we're Sketch Zone Podcast, kind of pretty much everywhere. But if you just go to sketch.zone, you'll see that we have all the links to all the social medias there. And you will see that we have 163 other episodes. 164 is about to come in for a nice, gentle landing. So yeah, we're on Facebook, on Twitter, all that stuff. For the most part, I'm not saying that it's a lot.
There's stuff there.
Yeah, just go to sketch.zone, and we're pretty active on Instagram too. And if you're on Instagram and you join in and you do the fun prompt, a rooster, sea captain, squeezing Van Gogh. Go ahead and go through the process of actually tagging us so it doesn't get lost in the shuffle, and we'll share your work. And like we always do, we'll share it, or we'll show it in the beginning of the show. Let's see if you can catch us live. We try to be here every Thursday night at 9 o'clock California time. Yeah, Carlos is quick to stalk people who follow him. Yes, and sometimes Noelle is here and she's disruptive, and
she's been gone. Welcome back, Noelle.
Yeah, don't stop welcoming her. Hey, otherwise, if you're watching on Twitch, there's a subscribe button up there. Go ahead and click that. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a button down there. Go ahead and click that. There's a little bell. Hit that. Noelle, hit it again because you keep getting the alerts that we're on. We're going to need you to stop getting those alerts. Everyone else, go ahead and get those alerts. If you
you know that bell, hit it again.
If you can yeah, so if you can watch it, if you can catch us live, you see how we do. We like to have everyone in the chat room participate. Otherwise, you can catch us on Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play Music, and of course, the almighty iTunes. Don't you believe her? Maybe not all the time. Hey, thanks everyone for being here. Thanks everyone for listening, watching, and all that good stuff. We will see you guys soon. See you next week, actually.
Bye-bye.